interesting.
Right. That is interesting.
Right.
All right, YouTube, here we are. Dave and I are
because they didn't need to verify him.
Debate.
They didn't need to verify that he was real. I mean, at that point, it could have been just a lie from Sidious.
Sure, fair.
And then they verified it was real.
I'd have to go back and look at that. I forget. I mean, I know you explained it, but I forget exactly what was said or what the context was with Plagueis there.
It wasn't very much. It just verified that he was the. It verified that Palpatine was the apprentice.
Yeah. Right.
And it verified that Palpatine was already a Naboo senator when he killed Plagueis.
Sure.
So it was much closer to the timeline
than because we were really led to believe it was super, super long.
It seemed like it was a long time ago, and then we didn't really know Sidious, But I mean, Sidious is a human. That is canon. So he's not super ancient old.
No.
So I mean, technically that's supposed to be 30 so years before Vader threw him over the edge. So
I think so.
Actually, it's a little bit longer than that. He's already old in the Okay.
All right.
Jordan wants to play Friday the 13th afterwards too.
Okay, well let's get to it then. I got YouTube is going. Hey YouTube, welcome. We're talking for the last 20 minutes about how Dave lost the Star Wars Rant Podcast debate, but you can go listen to that if you want. He's still not taken well, and he has some good points. So,
well, Chad has control of the live button, so he can turn it on whenever he wants.
Yeah, I did
to make it sound like it's more in favor of him. So we weren't arguing about how bitter I am. We were arguing about how
we weren't.
The facts actually verified me more so than Chad,
except for the point total. Yeah, I had his word. Where is it? Here we go. Andy's word of the week. I forgot to put in here. Hold on. There it is.
Andy did text me and said thanks for the Xbox, by the way.
Oh, good.
He's been busy, obviously.
Oh, yeah. 2 times. Works needs talk. Okay, you ready to go?
Yeah.
Audacity.
Yep.
In 3, 2, 1. Hey there, and welcome to episode number 120 of the South Dakota Gamer Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Chad Viss. Joining me, as always, Dave Matt.
We need to cut and restart. Because I'm stopping, and because we didn't discuss what the new was.
Well, we know. Good call. We know we have the Star Wars question, the best question, their most favorite debate question. That's their special way for one more week. And then June, I was thinking, do we want to do the YouTube subscription? Is that a good way to go for the month of June? Or do you have a better idea or a different idea?
We can do that. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
That's easy to do, right? And I mean,
screenshot it. That's all you got to do. They're subscribed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Easy. And then obviously Patreon still. So.
All right, okay. All right, ready to go.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to episode number 120 of the South Dakota Gamer Podcast for June 6th, 2017. I'm one of your hosts, Chad Viss. Joining me, as always, Dave Mann.
Yeah, it's me. Hey. What's up? I'm here.
He's here. Missing again this week is Josh Owens, newlywed, out. I don't know when he comes back from Greece, but I assume if he hasn't, it's probably soon.
Whenever Cecilia wants.
Okay. I mean, that's the way to start off. It's the wise way to go. So Josh will be joining us next week. Just a reminder, next week's podcast will be recorded on a Tuesday rather than a Monday night because of Nintendo's Direct E3 that they do Tuesday morning. So we are waiting to get all the information from that in order to record the podcast to give our impressions and also the points that will be awarded from Patreon supporter Evan Steele as he goes through all the things that we predicted and awards us points. The winner of that E3 prediction podcast, which we recorded 3 weeks ago now, will win a $25 PSN card, PSN, not end, PSN card. So make sure you listen next week to hear how many of the predictions we got right, who is the winner and the smartest video gamer of them all on this podcast, according to Evan Steele.
Yeah.
It'll be a great time. All right. Well, we're going to get right into the podcast that we do every week, talking about video games, all the top news, the new releases, things that we've been playing. And then we got a little extra special treat for you at the very end of the podcast, a little bit of Wonder Woman reaction discussion.
What?
So if you have not seen Wonder Woman,
I was thinking, are we gonna break this up to where we have a reaction and then at a certain point it's a spoiler?
Yeah, we'll do at the very end of the podcast. We'll let you know when we begin to talk about it. We'll give our, just spoiler-free thoughts, and then at some point there we will break into spoilers for the movie. So if you don't want to hear those, we'll let you know so you won't be spoiled accidentally. You'll know where they begin. But for now, let's get into the giveaway that the South Dakota Gamer Podcast is having. Dave, tell all the listeners about the awesome giveaway we're doing.
Well, the awesome giveaway we're doing is to give away a PlayStation 4. That's right. A currently console, unless they announce something really bizarre and out of character during E3. So in order to do that, we have been announcing the last month of the podcast ways that you can enter. One way that is constant all the way through the end of the contest, which is in November. I should mention again that we will be giving this out either the week or the weekend before Black Friday. So for those of you that are really wanting to, that maybe doesn't buy or doesn't win the PS4 and is looking to get one for Black Friday, you'll still be able to do that. But last month was to take a screenshot of you rating the podcast on iTunes and I think subscribing to our podcast. And then what I was going to say earlier, I skipped over, was the constant way to do that all the way through November is to support us on Patreon. That's not a requirement. Don't have to do that. But if you do that in any dollar form, even if it's $1 or $10 or $100, you get an extra entry per se into the contest every month that you subscribe or that you support us. But for this month, we are doing two things. We already mentioned last week, the special thing for this month will be to listen to another podcast that Chad and I have both been a part of. Chad more so than I, but recently me as well. The Star Wars Rant podcast that you can find on your iTunes and your other podcast services. And there's specifically one episode. What's the episode called? Is it the Final Debate? Is that what it was called?
I think it's just the number. I think it's just episode number 41.
Anyways, it's a debate between Chad and I. It's the third out of 3 debates between Chad and I on Star Wars stuff. And we told you that if you go and you listen to that and you simply just write in or comment or send us a text if you have our phone numbers or a private message on Facebook, what your favorite question or what you thought the best question and debate was. What Chad and I had the best and most interesting debate on. So you can do that, and that's available until next week, and then you're not going to be able to do that anymore. And then for this month, it's really simple. If you want to get another entry, just go on to YouTube, go to our YouTube channel, South Dakota Gamer, and subscribe. That's simple. Take a screenshot of it, send it to us like you did with the other stuff from last month, and you'll get another entry. So that's an easy one. Everybody should be able to do that. I mean, if you don't have a YouTube account, you could very easily create one for free. It's not hard at all, not difficult. So,
and then you can see our wonderful, beautiful bearded faces.
Oh yeah. I rub mine on stuff all the time, even though I don't. I need to go over to Beard Supply, which isn't what it's called. I just call it Beard Supply.
Beard Supply. Put your face on.
We'll talk about that in a later segment of the show.
Yes. So there you go. The giveaway for the PlayStation 4. We would love to give it away to you. That's right. You, the one listening right now. We want you to win it. So do the things to get the entries. All right. That's going to bring us into our new releases this week, brought to us by our good friend, Papa Andy. And Papa Andy has given us a new word this week, Dave.
Yes.
Are you ready for this word?
I'm ready for this word.
Mumpsimus.
There it is.
Tell us what Mumpsimus is, Dave.
Well, Chad, have you ever seen a movie called The Gladiator?
Oh, I have.
Well, in the Gladiator, there's a character, and the name Maximus is heard.
Right. Uh-huh.
Mumsimus is a very lesser-known gladiator who dies early on in the movie. Not by the sword, but by the disease. Mumps.
No. Oh, what a terrible way to go.
Yeah, he actually dies in the gladiator locker room.
Didn't make it out.
Yeah, he's actually, a lot of people think he's not accredited, but he actually is. You can find his real character name in the credits. I'll let you guys go and look for that.
That could be July's way to get an entry.
Find the actor who played Mumsimus in the Gladiator.
Yeah. Too bad we didn't get to hear them chant his name, Mumsimus, Mumsimus. That's great. No, Dave, you're wrong. Mumsimus, I know, is a traditional custom or notion adhered to, although shown to be unreasonable.
What are you saying?
So a tradition or custom, it's a tradition or custom that's held,
right,
even though that tradition or custom is shown to be completely unreasonable.
Oh, okay. So, like people still holding to the tradition that we should stone sinners.
Yeah, sure.
Mumsimus.
Pretty unreasonable.
That's what that's called.
That's what
or
it's
if
called,
like
Mumsimus.
Like if you steal something from your neighbor's house, your house and your whole family should be made into a dunghill.
Yeah, or like, where when people steal, you cut their hands off.
Yeah, if you steal an
it's
apple.
It's a tradition that's held to, but kind of unreasonable. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense anymore. Yeah, so there you go. Mumsimus. Give us your example of Mumsimus. South Dakota Gamer at gmail.com.
Surprise.
We may get them read on the air. Might get them read on the air next week if they're that good. So come up with some good ones. All right, so let's get into those new releases. Dave, tell us what we can spend our money on this week.
First, for the PC, PS4, and Xbox One, on June 6th is The Elder Scrolls Online, with no D at the end of it. What's wrong with us today, Chad? The Elder Scrolls Online Morrowind. Now, Cliff Potter, if you're listening, make sure your son knows about this.
I'm sure he is fully aware of this expansion. I hear it's real good.
I never played any of the ones before Oblivion, so I know Morrowind kind of encapsulates the entire everything that is the Elder Scrolls, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that hold a lot of sentimental value, and I'm sure some strong feelings for Morrowind. It was a really good game on the PC, and apparently it's done very, very well. And people are liking the game. Has come along a long way. The Elder Scrolls Online itself, since when it first released, which we did play and dabbled in, but it's come a long way. And apparently, Morrowind is real, real good. So there you go.
All right, pick that up. Also for the PC, PS4, Xbox One, and on your mobile devices for June 6th, Guardians of the Galaxy: The Telltale Series, Episode 2, Under Pressure. Now, I'm disappointed to say that I haven't finished the first episode of this game. It kind of fell through the cracks. I actually just forgot until now that I had it. So I need to go. I need to go do that. Obviously, if you don't know what Guardians of the Galaxy is, just completely shut off your podcast and go kill yourself. Because
no, Mumsimus, don't. These are not things you should hold on to. These are ridiculous traditions. It's okay if you haven't heard of them. Don't do the things Dave just said to do.
Notice how I said shut off your podcast, because I don't want people to know what was responsible for your suicide.
Wow.
Okay.
This is not sponsored.
But yeah, so there's Guardians of the Galaxy. Also on June 6th for the PS4 is the Wipeout Omega Collection. That's right, the Wipeout, which is not correct, because really it's like Wipeout, which I don't know where the first weird laugh one came from. But Wipeout Omega Collection, which has nothing to do with anything I just said, that's coming out for your PS4 on June 6th. Chad, enlighten us on what the Wipeout Omega Collection really is.
It's a driving game, racing racing game. Yep.
Very simplified version, but one nonetheless. Also on June 6th for the PS4 and the Xbox One is The Town of Light. Is this a game about heaven?
Okay.
The Town of Light.
Sure.
You know what, Chad? Now that we've started doing this, I actually like it more so when we just say the game's names and make up our own thing of what.
I mean, it's more enjoyable.
Just guess right
maybe
off.
Come up with better games.
It makes people. I mean, anyone that's listening, like, come up with a better name if you don't want us making fun of it.
This game about heaven. What do you do in this game, Dave?
Well, in the game of heaven, also known as the Town of Light, obviously, if it's called that, there is going to be a contrast known as Town of Darkness. And what it's going to be is this weird little thing where this weird, like, angelic being, kind of like in Doom, where he gets kind of cast out. You kind of become like a halfling of the Celestials, and you have to go back and forth between the light and the dark. You get a Jedi lightsaber and a Sith lightsaber that you dual wield.
That's great.
Yeah, at the same time. Hobbit. Yeah, and you have angel wings.
This Hobbit.
You can fly.
So this halfling Hobbit has 2 lightsabers.
Yeah, with the wings.
Cast out.
He has wings on his back. They're kind of charred, but they still fly.
Okay, and so burnt wings, crispy wings, Frodo with crispy wings and 2 lightsabers.
Yes, and they travel back and forth by using the device from the Portal games, which opens up basically, so you don't have to actually make a long journey. You just shoot a portal hole on the side of Dark Town, and then you can go into Light Town through that way. But only the halfling can do it. If anyone else tries to go through, they instantly burn instantaneously into like a little pile of ash.
Instantly burn instantaneously. That's fast. Yeah, like that happens right away.
Yes, instantaneously instant.
That's great. I think we should check this game.
It's almost like how your ramen noodles heat up in the microwave. Just a little bit faster than that.
Great. Let's not go any further. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to spoil it for him. And then last but not least, on June 9th, the oddball of the group for the PC, the PS4, the Xbox One is Dirt 4. Now, fortunately, we also know this is a racing game. Otherwise, it'd be a very boring conversation about Dirt.
Mm-hmm.
The 4th generation of Dirt.
Dirtier than ever.
Yeah. It's a sequel to your great grandfather Dirt.
Not your great grandfather's Dirt. Wow. All right. Well, there are the new releases for this week. Sure. Go get them. All right, let's get into a few news items this week, and that is in our section, the news you can use.
If you so choose
to do so. Brought to us. Oh.
There
it is. Wait for the... Yeah. All right. And Firsthand Supply.
Rub your face on it. Oh, wait, we say it at the end, don't we? You tell them a little bit about it, and then I say rub your face on it.
Firsthand Supply, where you can get all your beard supplies and hair supplies and cologne supply needs to smell real manly, because men have beards.
I guess I didn't realize it was all that. So rub your face and your head on it.
Huh. Yeah.
That's shampoo too, right? Hair stuff?
Well, it's like hair gel.
You said hair products. So, I mean.
Yeah, hair supply, hair products.
Also your head.
Colognes.
Your beard,
but you can put colognes other places if you want, like your neck.
Sometimes
clothing,
if it's gonna go down that night, you put some in other places.
What?
I mean, like,
thanks Paco and Firsthand Supply, you guys are the best. I use their stuff, it works great. All right, Dave, take this first one because rally.
Sonic Mania gets a trailer and a release date, which is August the 15th. Now, obviously, this is for the Switch.
Yeah, I believe
for the PS4 and Xbox One.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, this is what I'm interested in this one because this is just the throwback collection. This isn't the new scroller, which I don't.
This isn't the 3D. Yeah, this is definitely the 2D side scroller, but it has Tails, Sonic, Knuckles.
Well, here's the thing, Chad.
Some old levels.
You may not know this because when Sonic comes up, you become absolutely belligerent, like a drunk person. But I actually only like
How dare you?
A very limited selection of Sonic games. I don't like any of the 3D stuff. I have barely even touched any of that. To me, Sonic is just a side-scrolling game. It's not like the weird things where they tried to make him into like where he can like ride cars and shoot. I mean, it just kind of got out of control. I just like the ones where you're running and you're going. It's a platformer, and it's just a faster platformer than what you're used to. So I'll get the Sonic Mania for that reason on my Switch to play that kind of stuff. So
doing the Switch, not going with PlayStation for trophies, or
no,
you want it on the go.
Yeah, because that's not a game I'm going to sit down. That's not a game that's going to take me away from anything that's on my PS4 already.
Sure.
Like the Switch is my...
Good.
Huh?
No, I'll say good, then I won't have to play it.
Oh, no, yeah. I'm definitely not getting it for that. Like the Switch is like... That's mainly what the Switch is for me is it gets me my exclusives that I want, like Zelda, and hopefully a Metroid game soon, and then the Mario game. But also some of these indie games that I'm never going to really sit down and play on my PlayStation because I'm going to be playing the big AAA games and the other games that I want to play. These are like games, like, for example, Sonic Mania. I'm not going to sit down and play that for 3 hours. You know, I'm going to play that game for like 20, 30 minutes and then go play something else. So, and it's really easy to just have in my hands and in the car or on the bus or wherever I'm at.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
yeah, I mean, let's be real, right? Let's be real. Yeah. All right. Speaking of Nintendo, Nintendo has done a few things here the last few days. Obviously, E3 is still coming up, but they announced a little bit more information about their online services. Their online services will be free for the remainder of 2017. So the pay grade or the pay scales are not going to go into effect until 2018. But the way they're going to charge is going to be, or the amount they're going to charge rather, is $19.99 for a year for the online services, or $7.99 for 3 months, or $3.99 for 1 month. And that's going to get you, what is that going to get you? You may ask, as we all have asked. And they've told us some things. It's going to get you ability to use their online functions, as in their chat rooms, via your smartphone device and the app that you're going to be able to get as well. It's also going to get you the ability to play some old school games for a bit, similar to like PSN Now or the Xbox Game Pass. They have not gone into too much detail regarding that. My guess is because they may be saving some of those announcements for their E3 presentation regarding the virtual console and things like that. They have said, there has been one representative that said this is not the same or taking over for the virtual console, not confirming that there will be one, but they're saying this is not what the virtual console is. They called it something else. It just has to do with their online pass. But they gave 3 examples of games that you will be able to play with if you're paying this $20 a year. Super Mario 3, Dr. Mario, and I want to say, I can't remember the third one now off the top of my head, but they were all relatively older games, Super Nintendo games.
Was it a Mario game?
I wanted to say... Huh?
Since the other 2 are, I was just wondering if they were sticking them.
I want to say it was Metroid, but for some reason I hesitate to actually say
as in
for sure. Super Metroid.
Really?
Super Metroid. But I could, again, I'm not sure of that. But they did say the games that will be available for this online pass, and some will come, some will go, which again was why I say it sounds like a lot like PSN Now or like a Netflix subscription game service type thing. They're only going to include Super Nintendo games at first. Not necessarily saying that they won't do other consoles, but at first it's just going to be Super Nintendo games, and you will get to play it for free. Bless you. Sorry. You'll get to play it for free for that month. And then once that month is over and it turns to another one, you'll probably have another game that you'll be able to play instead. So it's similar to what they first announced when it came to the online subscriptions, but it's changed just a little bit. And still no news on the actual virtual console where you can go buy them. The older games and play those on your Switches, which is what everybody wants to hear. And I do believe was part of someone's predictions for E3. So that's part of Nintendo's thing. Now, secondly, you sent me the link first to Nintendo's voice chat option, which
I just sent you pictures, I think.
You sent me the pictures.
Yeah.
Hori, which makes headsets and controllers and a lot of peripherals for Nintendo, is making this basically Splatoon style headset chat function, weird mess of stuff that looks like a squid. Is shaped like a squid, has a shape.
For those of you that are wondering, like what kind, it also looks just like an elongated arrow. That's how. Sure. I mean, the squid head being the arrow tip,
the blopper
and
from
then a rectangle.
Mario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like it doesn't have like tentacles and stuff coming out of it. Although there are wires coming out of it, so whatever.
They kind of look that way. But anyways, it's a mess. It's a hot mess, and I kind of upset. I'm not upset. I'm a little disappointed that Josh isn't here just to hear his.
to give a physical description of what this is.
Please do.
You've got your switch. You've got a wire going into the headphone jack of that switch that goes out into this squid shaped like converter or not transporter, but like something splitter sort of. It's just a giant block. And then you have a cable that goes out of that into your phone. Right. Into the headphone jack of that, because that's how you're going to be going through the app that they're coming out with, that they still haven't really shown us what that was about for sure. So then you have the cord on the other side of it that comes out in and goes into the headset that they got for you, which is like specifically designed by them. So basically what's going to be happening, you're going to have this headset that has a wire that goes down into this weird squid shaped block that has two wires, one going out into your phone and then one going out into your switch. So imagine being anywhere in public, and wanting to play this really convenient, like, I'm on an airplane, I pull up my switch, here we go, I'm playing it. But now
you've got to have Wi-Fi in order to play an online game.
Airplane's a bad example. So say you're anywhere in public that has Wi-Fi, Starbucks, Barnes and Nobles,
or even at home.
Hotspot. Well, I'm just saying where people can see you is the point I was making. Where you used to have to pull out all this extra stuff to set around you so you can simply play online and talk to people. Which now that I say that out loud, it's like I'm not going to go play online games in a public place anyways, because I'm not the good person for that.
Again, say you're just sitting at home on your couch. One, you can't have it docked in your TV, right? It's got to be in handheld mode in order to plug in, because the wire that goes from the switch to the block thing, they say is 20 inches long.
I actually read it's less than 20 inches long.
Okay, even worse.
Which is yeah. That's less than 2 feet. So
unless you're 8 still, and you're playing video games like you were when you were 8, and you're sitting on the floor literally right in front of the TV, which I know I don't do that. This is going to just be a hassle.
I'm saying do we know, is that the cord that goes to the headset, or is that the cord that goes to, or is it both? It can't be the headset. The headset's got to be longer than 20 inches, because like from my head down to my lap is more than 20 inches, just about.
Yeah, I'm assuming that it's from the switch to the splitter would be my guess.
And then the one that goes to your phone, another cord, probably the same length.
Probably.
So it's like you have to have like a table or your lap to where this has
sitting
to
on the couch next to you. Yeah.
Which seems really
just opening a Skype on your Xbox or your laptop sitting next to you is just a much better option.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to play, like if we're going to play Splatoon or we're going to play Mario Kart, it's such a better option to either do that or to do Skype, which is what I already said, Skype, or like Discord. Some other option that there's available chat without wires plugged here and there. It makes no sense. It is the most convoluted, complicated way to do a thing that is not complicated anymore at all. And is it the hardware limitations that you can't do that? You can't just like now we plug in any earbud, any headset with 30 or 3.5 millimeter into your PlayStation 4 controller. A controller, not the hardware.
Right.
So I don't understand what the limitations are. It seems terrible. Just so backwards. That makes no sense at all.
Yeah, I just don't understand. I mean, like I said, I mentioned it in the text thread. When I had a Vita for the time I had it, I was sitting in a hotel room on their Wi-Fi, and since I'm on my Vita and it's connected to my PSN, some of the guys got notifications that I was online, so they sent me a party invite, and I accepted it. And I'm pretty sure I had just a generic. I definitely didn't have any PlayStation headset on there in my bed. I'm pretty sure I was just using a generic pair of earbuds I bought from the gas station or something that had a mic in the line, and I'm sitting there talking to them, listening to them on a party from my Vita. and easily could have been playing a game doing the same thing. So it's not like it hasn't been done before. The Vita is something that runs on carts.
Why is it so difficult? Why is this so difficult?
The Vita ran on carts just like the Switch does. The Switch, in my opinion, was supposed to be, or from what I understand and all the stuff we ever heard, it was supposed to be better than the Vita.
Mm-hmm. Right. So if you're out there and you're a Nintendo fan, or not, or you think this is a good idea, or you can explain to me why this works, please do so, because I am confused. And I have a Switch. I like my Switch, and there will be multiplayer games, I'm sure, at some point that I would like to play, and I would like to have voice chat, but I do not plan on buying this. So if there's something I'm missing, please inform me. I would like to know what I'm missing. Please tell me the good side that I am failing to see.
He's asking you, Evan.
Well, if you want to use his name, yeah. Maybe Evan feels the same way, though. That it's ridiculous. But if not, let me know.
Evan has
no
odd words to say about Nintendo.
Next news item. We'll come back to Nintendo here in just a minute. But next on the news item, we have some bad news. We have some sad news. Things that a little disappointed at, Dave.
Yes, I definitely am.
Tell the people.
Well, folks, one of my favorite little games from this generation, which is the Shadow of Mordor, the sequel to that game, Shadow of War, has been delayed. Do you want to know when it's been delayed to, Chad?
I mean, the people probably would like to if they haven't heard yet.
October. Now, okay. I will say October is the month of my birth.
Okay. So they did it for your birthday.
Well, I'm just saying, listeners, birthday possibility. Dave, man, this is coming out around that time. There you go. Also, listeners, just so you know, October comes before November, which is when our contest ends. Just saying. I might not draw the winner. I might draw the winner. We don't know yet.
Dave's making promises here. It was come out in August, and they delayed it for 2 months. So, I mean, delays, we're always disappointed. Like we said, we're disappointed about it, but maybe it's not a bad idea. Maybe it's not a bad thing. Maybe the game will be better because of it. Usually is what happens. And, honestly, I heard one podcast, I forget which one, talking about that sometimes it wouldn't be too out of the norm for them to announce that release date just to see what would come out in October, November. And if something, say, like Red Dead Redemption got delayed till the next year, they'd be like, okay, we can move it to October and not worry about no one ever buying a game because of Red Dead. Right. So we said August, which we would have stuck to if they came out, so we'd have a couple months. But since they aren't, now we got 2 more months that we can tweak it and clean it up a little bit. So that could be possible as well.
I mean, I'm disappointed because I was looking forward to that game coming out before the heavy hitters did,
Yeah, but yeah.
I want the game to be good,
Of course.
That one.
Absolutely. All right. One of the heavy hitters, speaking of, coming out this year, Call of Duty World War II. I'm looking forward to that game. I want to get your thoughts on this, Dave, but there's a rumor going around that the health regen, which we talked about in the single player, there will not be health regen. You'll have to get med packs from your teammates, things of that nature to bring your health back. There's a rumor going around that will also be the case in the multiplayer.
That's crazy. I mean,
that's yeah. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, it might not be as big of a deal as you might think when you first hear it, because in a lot of those multiplayer games, I mean, we're used to like what we used to call all the time, like getting jelly on your screen. When you get hit, the blood would splatter, your heartbeat would raise audibly, and you'd have to like take cover real quick for your health to go up. But how many times did that happen to where the action's so quick you get killed before you ever have a chance for that really to happen? I mean, every once in a while I'd be able to take cover. That's if I'm like really like trying to snipe way out from the distance or something, aka camping. So, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily a bad thing. It would definitely make it more interesting. I mean, it'll make people have to play more strategic, not just rush into stuff when they're going to not be able to, just hide behind a wall and have their health
Russian, recovered. You say? Think about it this way, though.
I did my Russian voice last time.
That's true. Russians are also part of World War II. How do we play Call of Duty multiplayer recently?
Huh?
Dave is showing. Come on, man. I knew you were playing Switch, but
put
it away.
I had to
put it away.
I had to just beat that
track.
Oh, I will say, Chad. Well, I was
talking about playing a race of Mario Kart.
Well, it's because I just saw it was on and I wanted to finish it. I don't have a good.
How do we usually play multiplayer recently now? Hardcore. We play hardcore mode. There is no health regen in hardcore.
Say we don't.
Well, back to the time when we did. We always play hardcore.
Yeah,
and there is no health regen in hardcore. So, if that's the way we like to play, which we did come to the point where playing hardcore we felt was better because, again, you didn't have to unload an entire clip and the guy still not die. You shoot him once, maybe twice, he's dead.
Yeah, it started getting ridiculous in the regular ones. I mean, and I remember when we first started with Modern Warfare 2. I mean, that we never played hardcore then, did we?
We didn't.
No, I mean,
we didn't at first.
Done every once in a while, but that our main game night was not played on hardcore.
But then it switched.
We loved it.
It was. But then we did switch it to hardcore, and it's hard to go back to a regular version when you play hardcore because you're used to shooting them and them dying. So if health regen is not a thing, it's just basically hardcore through the entire map or through the entire multiplayer modes. Which
that just depends on that depends on still some different factors, because if it doesn't affect the actual health, I mean, like, for example, hardcore versus regular isn't simply because the health doesn't regenerate.
Yeah, that's not
it also takes less damage to kill someone. So, I mean, like, for example, if you're sitting watching on an alley and a guy comes around the corner on hardcore, you hit him with a bullet, he's most likely dead, especially if you're using a sniper or whatever. Most of the time he's dead. If you shoot him, in the leg or something, maybe you might have to hit him one more time. But 2 bullets or less, he's dead. If you're playing on regular, sometimes you could hit him with that, and then he could go back around the corner and be fine still. Right. Even if his health didn't regen, that didn't
take as much to kill him. Sure.
Yeah, that's still an advantage over hardcore. So I don't know. I mean, like I said, one thing for sure, it will have to. It will affect the way people play. I mean, because, for example, if you did do that same thing and you were running like, okay, these guys are holding this alley from down there, we got to get up there and take them out. So we run out, we get hit, but we hide behind this van, then our health recovers. And then now we're already halfway up the street before we try again. And then we get hit again, but we get around to the side, and then our health regens again, and then we rush in the door to try to get them at full health. It
definitely changes the way the game's played.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to do that. So, I mean, in my opinion,
you think it's
in the way that we play, which a lot of people that lost to us hate, which that happens with basically whatever. But we like to play strategically. I mean, people can say whatever they want. They can hate on whatever they want. But the way we played it was we looked at it as, okay, it's a military game. We're going to use military strategy. We're going to use choke points. We're going to use one friend's covering the one entrance, one guy's covering this entrance. I mean, you can call it camping if you want, but if we know you're rushing us in a building, we're just going to look at the doors. It's called not being stupid. So this is, in my opinion, going to have to make some people be a little less foolhardy and going to require some people to be put a little bit more thought into there. I mean, you're not going to jump off of a building and do a 360 no scope if when you hit the ground, you're going to die instantly. Your health, you're not just going to go, and then lay there, and then you're going to come back up and then be able to run around again. I mean,
yeah. Do you think they'll do this, though? Do you think this is something does this make sense for the Call of Duty franchise to do this?
Do you think that this is to test the waters? Do you think, or is this did you say this was a
good question? I don't know.
Or did you say this was something that
this is a rumor? This is a rumor.
So where did it come from?
I believe Reddit is where I saw the rumor.
See, I don't even know in 2017 if I believe that rumors aren't just.
It was.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not just someone. Yeah, that could be too.
Because nowadays,
it seemed like a reputable person that had some insight.
Yeah, nowadays you can do mini beta tests basically by letting some information sleep, seeing how the reaction is, and then basing your decision off of that.
I mean, we know it's not going to be in the single player, which is a first thing as well. But yeah, to add that to the multiplayer version changes the game quite a bit. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
Do you think because this is a World War II game that they're going to have like a medic class similar to Battlefield?
They have said that. Yep. Your squad will have someone that is a medic person. You'll have someone that's an ammo person. So you can run out of bullets.
Well, then when you think about it that way, which because I haven't paid much attention to that because I know I'm going to like the game. I guess I'm being a bad podcaster. But in that case, I think they probably will do it. Because what's the point of having a medic if your guy can just hide behind a wall and heal by himself without you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see
if that's the case. Then, because I imagine picking a medic over picking somebody else, there's going to be disadvantages and advantages to different classes. So if that's the case, then picking a medic and not having to heal somebody, then you're at a disadvantage for no reason.
Like Battlefield 1, you get a medic class and you can heal people quicker. But if you don't have a medic around you and you're hurt, you can still hide around the corner and your health will still come back.
Yeah, but it comes back a lot slower than it did in Call of Duty.
Yeah, no, totally. It definitely does come back a lot slower, and the medics are very important. And that's more of a strategic game than Call of Duty tends to be. But you still have guys that rush around like crazy idiots in that game too. So who's to say? It'll be interesting to see what they do.
I mean, I also did see some really big multiplayer maps with a lot of players. So, I mean, that's also something to consider, too. I mean, if your health doesn't respawn and you've got, instead of just 6 guys that are trying to kill you, you've got 12 guys that are trying to kill you. Or, whatever the number is.
It'll be interesting to that game and looking forward to whatever they come out with. I like World War II. All right, next we have a question from Twitter, and this is going to tie into the next news item. Nintendo announced today that they're having an 8-minute Pokemon Direct tomorrow at the time of this recording on June 6th. 8 minutes about Pokemon, that's all they said. So the Bryce, Last Geek on Twitter, said, do you think the Pokemon Direct tomorrow will be about Pokemon on the Switch? If so, what would you want from a console version of Pokemon?
I don't think so. What?
What do you think it will be?
Well, I'm just answering to that question. I think if there is a Switch Pokemon, which I think it's very possible, I think they're going to save that for E3.
So what is their Pokemon Direct about tomorrow then?
Well, they've got a rumor is that they've got a new feature coming to Pokemon Go. Is that what it's called? I can't even remember.
Yeah, Pokemon Go. Mm-hmm.
I just saw that recently. I don't think it's been announced what that is yet. Correct?
Okay. Well, yeah, there were some rumors out there about some like one-on-one battles, adding some legendary Pokemons, which they've added some Pokemons and things like that since release as well. I don't know that that's possible.
Because a lot of, for example, there's a lot of people that've got Pokemon Go that aren't even going to be anywhere near E3 coverage. So they wouldn't see, if there's anything specific to Pokemon Go, they're not going to notice that there. Not that they're looking for the Nintendo Directs, but that's easily something that could be notified. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't something that can pop up in Pokemon, even though I guess, okay, maybe I should take that back. Because Pokemon Go isn't from Nintendo in the first place. It's
that's Pokemon Company and Niantic.
So I don't know.
But
I still stick to my guns that I don't think they're going to announce a Switch Pokemon just before E3.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're claiming big E3. We're going to have a big E3, so they're not going to. You're going to want to hit with all guns fired.
Yeah, you would think something like that would be done at E3.
Not all guns.
Yeah. That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. You would think that'd be something they'd wait for E3 to do because that's a big deal. I wouldn't be. I think we'll get something. If it's not tomorrow, I think we'll get it at E3. There's a rumor of the Pokemon Stars, which is basically the Sun and Moon version from the 3DS, but for the Switch. So it'd be a different version of that game made for the Switch specifically and called Stars, because the other ones are Sun and Moon and Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So that's a possibility if they did that. If they did announce Pokemon Stars or whatever for the Switch, and it's only an 8-minute Direct, I think it's going to be super short, and it'd be letting us know that there's a game for the Pokemon game coming for the Switch. We'll talk about it at E3. It's probably about as much as we'll get, is that there is one. There's also rumors that they're making Pokemon Stars for the 3DS, and they're redoing, I want to say, Silver and maybe Gold, redoing that for the 3DS as well.
Silver and Gold.
Yes, just like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Raider claymation movie way back in the day. I don't know. I think if they did announce a Switch version, it'd be very light, and then they'll stick to the 3DS stuff when it comes to Pokemon. Maybe they'll throw some Pokemon Go stuff in there too. I mean, it's all Pokemon all the time. Now, that being said, the other part of the Last Geek's question was, if there was a Switch version of Pokemon, what would you want that game to be? I mean, they're typically an RPG, right? Where you go around to all the towns and you got to fight in the gyms, you got to catch all the Pokemon, and you level them up. Do we want just that on the Switch? Is that enough, or do they need
honestly haven't played? I haven't played hardly any Pokemon in my life. I played some Pokemon Snap on the 64, and then I played some Pokemon Go on my phone. But I have obviously the basic understanding of it. I can imagine that they wouldn't make if it comes to the Switch, which I think it will, that they're not going to have a multiplayer component to Pokemon. That's what everybody wants. There's no way that they don't know that. So with their whole big thing about, you can set it up, you can pass your controller a friend, or you pass your friend a controller. That'd be weird,
Pass your controller.
Hey,
friend.
you want to play? I've got a controller over there. Let me throw you at it. So yeah, I can easily see, think about it. What if you just set your Switch up on the stand next to another Switch on the stand, and you're sitting there battling each other?
Yeah, that'd be a cool aspect of it.
Basically. So
that could be one part, the online part, but I think it still would be a good.
Well, yeah, it's still going to be. They're still going to have a single player thing. Yeah, I could easily see it being a whole RPG, like you said. Where you're going out and you're finding and collecting them. You're battling different things, taking over different areas of the map against NPCs and stuff like that. But then just having a multiplayer to where the things you collected in your game and will carry. I mean, that would be a good idea. Like the things you collect in your game and you level them up in your game, you can carry them over to multiplayer and play other people, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So play random people. Yeah. I mean, that'd be cool if you went to basically like the idea of the Pokestops with Pokemon Go. You just go to an area online and you can play, other people.
Yeah, you think it makes sense for them to give a multiplayer part of that game. So
definitely. I
wouldn't be surprised that we see that. A Pokemon on the Switch announced at E3. We may get an announcement tomorrow, just in the little hey, stay tuned for this next week from today. We will give you more information, but it is coming. And then a bunch of 3DS stuff would be my guess. So thanks for the question, Last Geek. We do appreciate the follow over there on Twitter and the interaction. If you have any questions, you can email us at southdakotaGamer@gmail.com. You can hit us up like Bryce did on Twitter at SDakotaGamer. You can hit us up on our Facebook page as well. If you have questions or things you want us to talk about, those we enjoy doing that and would love to give you our thoughts on whatever subject you may have. Probably any subject. Yeah, we'll just say that. Any subject. All right, 2 more things in the news segment. Horizon Zero Dawn. You platinumed that yet, Dave?
Nope.
Weak. They have announced that they have sold 3.4 million copies of Horizon Zero Dawn here this last week. Whew. It's a lot of copies of the game. It has done well. And it's continuing to sell really well, even a few months later. I mean, it came out in February, correct?
Yes.
February, March, April, May, June. So we're into the 5th month of it being released, and it's still selling really well. So 3.4 million copies, obviously huge hit. We will definitely see more Horizon game in the future, without a doubt. Congratulations, Guerrilla Games. And finally, Bethesda, known for the Skyrims and the Dooms and all the other real cool games that are out, is teasing a quote-unquote bleeding edge freemium game that we're going to see more information from at E3. What do you think about those adjectives? Bleeding edge freemium game.
Yeah, it doesn't interest me. I mean, I am curious. I guess that's kind of an oxymoron to say that, or a double negative, or whatever you want to say. But the fact that it's freemium, what are they trying to say? That it's a free-to-play game, but it's more premium than your standard free-to-play game?
Yeah, because it's a AAA produced, like it's high quality. It's not just
what is Bleeding Edge? It's supposed to be cutting edge, but it's
I suppose, but the edge has been cut, so it's bleeding.
Right. I don't know.
I mean, their Fallout Shelter they did, that's a freemium game. Like it's a free game. I guess if you want to say it's a premium game as well, it's a freemium game. It's free to play. And that was real popular on the phones last year, and now you can play it on your consoles as well. But the fact that they put it in as a AAA Bleeding Edge freemium game, it makes you wonder what exactly that means. Will it be a mobile game? I assume it's free to play, obviously, but I doubt this is their unannounced new IP, right?
I guess. I mean, you follow Bethesda way more than I do. You and Josh both. So
I'd be really disappointed if their new IP was a Bleeding Edge freemium AAA title. That would be a super underwhelming announcement for me. So I don't know what that means, or what that'll be. I don't know what kind of hype that's supposed to generate. But yeah, they're teasing that. Oh, so E3 is less than a week away.
Yeah, it is.
Today, or the day of this release of this podcast, it'll be done. It'll be over. We'll know all the things. The best weekend of the year for gamers is coming up. So yeah, stay tuned for next week when we bring Evan on and tally the points and see who wins the prediction show. That's all the news I have for you this week, which is going to bring us into the What We've Been Playing section.
Yeah!
Dave, besides the Mario Kart you're literally playing right now.
No, I'm messaging somebody asking about
what
other show that I do.
Have you been playing this week, Dave?
Well, Chad, I've been playing a few games. It saddens me to say this, but I can't remember what I said I played last week. I know it was a big list, I think. Wasn't it? Was it a big list?
We did, because there had been a couple weeks that we hadn't talked about what we played because of the prediction show. So, yeah, you had quite the list.
So, anyways, did I mention... I had to have mentioned some Friday the 13th. Did I not?
A little bit. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit.
Okay, well, I played a lot more of that.
Okay.
Played some with my brother. Fun with it? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Having a blast with it. Told some people about it this weekend. Planning on playing some of it tonight. I played some of it separately with Jordan, with 2% Jordan Steele last night. I played some with my brother the other night. Played some with Evan and Jordan and Paco and my brother and some other randoms the other night. It's really fun. It's really fun. They're definitely fixing stuff. There's still some, like I heard somebody the other night say, "Oh, I was surprised you didn't do the hip glitch." And what the hip glitch is when Jason is about to get you, you like crouch down and you like start crouching down by his hips, where it almost looked like there was some, like weird sexual stuff getting ready to happen. But apparently something happens to where he can't kill you because you either get into this area where he can't hit, or I don't know what happens. I mean, I've seen videos of people flying around the map and Jason's like trying to hit them. But every single person I've heard play this game says that the fun outweighs the bugs. And and also it's very noteworthy to say it's not like the game is plagued with bugs. This isn't happening every match, and it's not game breaking at all. The game's very fun. It's fun meeting people online that play this way. I mean, because it's a horror game, but your friends are there. So it takes some of that pressure off for people like you, Chad, who don't you don't like horror games, but you're literally playing with other people. But there's still some very real scare points to this game. For example, like when you start the game and you're a counselor, you start randomly on the map somewhere, and Jason's out there somewhere. He's coming for you guys as the counselors, and you can't hear anybody. Unless you're right next to somebody, because the chat's proximity, you can't hear anyone. So you have to like all of a sudden you're there by yourself, and it's like, oh crap, do I want to go to this cabin? Am I going to make too much noise if I go to this cabin? Will Jason see me? Should I stay here until like he starts chasing somebody else? Should I go look for somebody? I see somebody running here on my mini map. Should I go? I can hear them faintly. I don't want to say anything though, because Jason can also hear me if he's in the same vicinity. All these things start happening, and I've seen lots of different ways people have played it to where people are grouped together. And Jason's trying to get them, and they're all trying to distract and do different things. And I've seen some people.
Do you have a strategy? Like, do you have a strategy now on how to play?
Well, my strategy is
played enough.
My strategy is get to the first cabin, start looking through crap. I've seen some people go in, they just go right in, start looking at stuff. Like I can't help myself. I have to shut that door and bar it. And if there's a bear trap laying there, I'll put the bear trap in front of the door. Like I'm like protecting my 6 and my 12. I got to make sure I know what's going on. Then I start looking for everything. And then, if I happen to find a map, which is good, then I'll be like, I'll check my map and I'll be like, all right, where's the next closest house? Okay, I'm going to go out this window here and I'm going to crouch and I'm going to try to get over to this house. Okay, wait, where's everybody else at? Like, is there a bunch of people over there or is everybody scattered? Because if there's a bunch of people, chances are Jason's going to be over there. If it's just 1 or 2 people kind of scattered, he could be anywhere at any moment. Maybe I'm just going to sit still for a little bit and wait until I know he's attacking somebody. Then I'll move. If there's somebody else that's already there, then it's kind of like, okay, I'll start talking to this person. But at the same time, I'm kind of not trusting this person not to screw me over, because sometimes you get people that just mess. Like there's been I played 2 matches in a row where some idiot came into the house I'm in. They haven't figured out how to play the game yet. They set off the radio that acts as a distraction to lure Jason to the building. So now I'm like, okay, I'm literally checking this. I've checked 2 drawers out of this 2-story house, and you just alerted Jason that this building has people in it. So now I'm screwed. So I'm like trying to run away. And so that happened 2 things in a row. And then there's other times where people are just running around and they're making noise, and you're like, oh my gosh, like maybe I'll just hide and hopefully Jason will come over here and kill you and leave, and then I can just get away. There's been other times where I've spawned in and I found the boat propeller and I found the gas right close to the boat. Like here's 2 houses by this boat. One house had the propeller, one house had the gas. I put the stuff in the boat. I'm like, is anybody near me? I'm like, you know what? I got to survive. Let's go. Took off. I survived before anybody else. I said like only one other thing had happened before I survived, and that was my brother being killed by Jason. And then he died and went to like the, where you can spectate, and sees me leaving the map by myself in a boat. I'm like, see you guys, I'm out of here.
So how many times have you played as Jason?
Not as many as I would like. It is fun, though. If you can get a bunch of people to play, you can go into a private match, and then when you're in a private match, you can choose who's Jason.
Sure.
So you can make sure everybody who wants to play as Jason can get a chance to play as Jason. But obviously, in the regular multiplayer public matches, it's just at random. I think maybe I've got to do that once. Actually, at random, it was once, maybe twice. But most of the time it's been in private matches and stuff. So I do like playing as. I played as 3 different Jasons so far. They all have different perks and different disadvantages. Some of them can run, some of them can't. Some of them have faster weapon swings than others. Some of them have a better sense than others. Some of them are faster in water. So it's been pretty cool. You feel pretty awesome when you're Jason. It's fun. I will say the last game I was in, though, was my worst game ever as Jason. 4 people got away. I was like, dang. I was really – now, they almost didn't. What happened was I was killing somebody. I had killed 3 people, and I was in the process of killing the 3rd person when all of a sudden I saw the car drive by. It had Jordan in it, and I heard him go, see ya. And I was like, crap. And I'm like, you ain't getting away. What you think you're getting away? I got to my morph page, and I got to the map. And I made the mistake of thinking the exit was on the right side instead of the left side, and I morphed to the wrong side. So I didn't. The car just went the opposite way instead, and I had used my morph, and I couldn't catch up to the car. If I would have picked the right side, I would have appeared in front of him, smashed the car, started pulling him out, and killing him.
That's so cool. Which
would have been awesome. But I messed up.
Yeah, would have been. All right.
So, anyways, I'm looking forward to playing more of that tonight, hopefully with you.
Cool.
On the road, I played some Mario Kart 8. I did verify that getting a trophy in another CC does not get you the trophy in the lesser CC.
Oh, it doesn't? Oh,
no.
That's disappointing.
So I did also notice though. So Mario Kart 8. I don't know how the other ones are, but this one has 50cc, 100cc, 150cc. Then it has the mirror cc, which I know that one's been in other games before.
Mm-hmm.
Then it has 200cc.
Right.
Now I went and played the 200cc the other day, and I'm almost I can't say this for 100% certainty, but I think I might be better at Mario Kart playing in 200cc because my play style, because it's much faster, and the way that I use the drift and everything, it's just it plays to my play style better. Now I was also playing on one of the maps that I already knew, too. One of the cups I had already played, because I played one of the cups in 50 and 100 already, so I kind of knew that one.
Sure.
But it's just I like it faster. I like when it moves faster. But anyways, that's really fun. I'm looking forward to the next time I can play that with some people, with some friends. And then also I've been playing some Gwent on the PS4, which is also on the Xbox One and PC.
The beta, right?
Yes, the beta, and it's like a full operating game in beta. So I mean, as far as I know, I mean, if they add more to this, then that's going to be really in depth. It's like it's almost like,
is it more than the game within the game?
Oh yeah, it definitely is. So in the game of Witcher, when you play Gwent, you have a deck of cards, and you can pick between different factions or whatever. There's different decks that you can use, and you collect these cards. But each card played has a certain point value and has certain things it does. But in this game, in the game of Gwent, the standalone game, there's all kinds of different buffs and things you can use within different types of. There's faction cards, number one, that are to like either the Beast faction, the Elves faction, the Man. Can't remember all the different names of all of them, but there's like I think 5 different factions. So you've got all those different faction cards, and then you've got like multiple heroes for each faction that you can unlock. Then you've got hero cards, which can be played with any faction. Then you've got like special cards that can be played with any faction. So your special cards are going to be like, take this potion and boost one of your units up 8 points, or use this and damage one of their players 7 points, or use this and get 4 adjacent tiles up by 3 points. And there's all kinds of different things you can use like that. So when you're playing a game of Gwent, you have this deck of cards in your hand. The minimum is 25 cards, and you have to have so many of each different. There's like gold, silver, and bronze cards, and then special cards. You have to have so many of certain number of cards. But anyways, the minimum is 25. You can have as many cards as you want, but each round you only play with a certain number of cards. I think it's like, I think you start off, not each round, each game. There's a minimum of 2 rounds per game. You have to win by 2. And each game, I think you only get to play with like 11 or 12 cards out of your deck. So what happens is you get a random 11 cards, or however many it is, and you get to redraw 3 of them for your first round. If you don't like what you got, you can redraw 3 of them. Then you start playing. So you play against different factions or whatever. This game has a very in-depth training tutorial, tells you all about how you play, and then it also has like another tutorial within that in the form of challenges where you can go through, and there's like a basics challenge, then there's like advanced challenge, then there's challenges for each faction. So it teaches you basically there's 6 different computer opponents within each faction challenge, to where as you go, as you beat them, you're winning different currency to buy new cards. And then at the end there's 2 sets of 3 in each faction challenge. At the end of each set, you win a new hero card too. So you can switch out your heroes. Cool. And the hero cards are not hero cards. The I guess it's considered, it's the leader of your faction. Like, because there are hero cards too. Like, for example, Geralt is a hero card. But then each faction has a leader card that does something else. So, like, for example, this one leader will say, you can redraw 3 cards, or this hero card says you can revive a hero card out of the graveyard, the cards you've already played, and play it back on your board. Different types of things like that. So there's all that stuff, in-depth stuff that you can do to help you learn how to play the game before you even go to online matches. So I've played maybe 5, 6 online matches. I've won like maybe 2 or 3 of them. I don't think I might not be at 50% yet, because there's some good people on there. I mean, and there's a strategy not just to picking your deck, but the way you play your deck.
Sure.
And so you can really get involved in this game. And I've never been somebody to play like games like Hearthstone or Dungeons and Dragons or anything like that. Or however that, I guess Dungeons and Dragons is a little bit different than this. Hearthstone's probably more similar.
Yeah.
But I like it. I really like it. I talked to Jordan about it last night. He had already downloaded it, but it was kind of too late for him to get into it. But he's interested in it because he likes card games. So yeah, I mean, I'm curious. Like Josh, I know showed interest in it. I'd be curious to see what he thinks of it, and curious to play some other guys in it and stuff like that. So I would recommend it especially if you like those kind of card games. This one is super in depth. There's a lot to it. It's a free beta. And it's a very full game experience. You're not just getting, a timed experience or whatever. It has a full ranking system. You rank up. It keeps track of all that. You don't lose it with each time you go. It's got different daily challenges. Like you can win so many matches in a day and you get a reward for that. And it resets with each day. Or every time I've started the game anyways, it's been resetted. So, but my level keeps leveling up. And with that, you get more points and stuff like that.
I think I heard that it'll transfer over to the full game too. That you won't lose, it won't wipe you.
That's cool. So yeah, they put a lot of love into this, and it shows. It's a very good game. So, looking forward to playing more of that. That's all I've been doing for this week.
Okay, very interesting. Mine probably won't take as long. I talked about it before. Forza Horizon 3. Continue to play that. That's a real fun game. Looks great. Lots of racing around, running over billboards and knocking over trees and a bunch of crazy stuff to race a helicopter. That's a fun game. The Marvel Superheroes Omega beta ended and the game is like live now, I guess.
Oh, really?
Because I started getting trophies for it. Like I went back to play again and the characters that I had leveled up were wiped. I was back to the very beginning and I started the game over.
But you haven't bought the game though.
No, I think it's a free-to-play game.
Oh, you just have to pay for your...
Yeah, like if you want more characters, you have to pay for those. Or if you want costume packs, you have to pay for those.
So I think it's I just deleted it, thinking it would be a new download when it came out.
No, yeah, I just went... I was like, I had some time. I was like, I'll just play this because I know I can just kind of run around and mess around. Right. There's really not a whole lot of progression. And I went... I'm like, it started over. I was like, I wonder if there's just another beta or... Because it still says beta on some of the screens. Yeah. I was like, all right, well, that's weird. So I just started playing, and I went through the tutorial, and I think you fight the Green Goblin. And so as I beat him, I got the trophy. I'm like, then I'm like, this is a free-to-play game, I think. And so I went through and played the first chapter, and I beat that boss at the end of that chapter. I got another trophy. I'm like, this is totally out. So I actually played that for a good amount of time. I got Nova, who I think I talked about before in the beta, was the hero I played just because he has some pretty cool long-range moves. And it got him up to level 20. So I did notice there's trophies for defeating all the chapters. There's trophies for getting a hero to level 60. There's trophies for getting multiple heroes to level 60s, things like that. So, yeah, so that's a real fun game. It's similar to Marvel Ultimate Alliance, kind of. It's similar to Destiny, as in a bunch of other people are running around the same space as you are. And you level your heroes up and you get different abilities, different powers. You get money that you can buy things in game. You get items, you get other loot similar to Diablo. So you get different helmets and different armor, different boots, different gloves. And they have, stats on them where they'll do better damage or health regen, things of that nature. So yeah, Marvel Superheroes Omega, if you like the Marvel games, if you like the Marvel properties, I definitely recommend, trying that one out. And then finally, I played some Battlefield 1, some more Battlefield 1. And the more I play that game, the more I want to play that game. And the more I want to play with people that I know.
I don't mean to step on your toes. I just was curious. And I see a June 4th release date for PC. That was in 2013. And it still says it's for 2017 for
It's
console.
Been out on the PC forever. They renamed it it was originally Marvel Superheroes 2013. They renamed it to like 2015. And then they redid it again, Marvel Superheroes 2016, and kind of updated it a bunch. And when they came over to consoles, it was a beta. And as far as I could tell, I did a little research. I didn't see an actual release date announced for the consoles at all. And the Xbox One hasn't even gotten the beta yet. But there are rumors that they will get the beta. But I've never been in a beta or a not released game and started getting trophies. So that's why when I started getting trophies, I didn't look any further. I'm like, well, I guess this game is out.
Well, because like even their own website still says open beta available at the top. And they have a recent post on June 1st that says June 4th marks the 4th anniversary of the launch of Marvel Heroes on PC. So we're celebrating all month long with events and sales. Throughout the month of June, we'll be kicking off various events, blah, blah, blah. So they talked about June 4th being the anniversary of the launch, but they didn't say it was released or anything. Even their website,
it's the weirdest thing.
Still says
there's no release date.
Marvel Heroes Omega opens or enters open beta on PS4, and it gives you the option, but it's weird.
Yeah. So I guess I would like to see if someone hadn't downloaded the beta, if they could go download it, and it'd be free for them. And then because I haven't put a dime into it.
Yeah.
And I've unlocked like 4 or 5 trophies already. So I don't believe they let you unlock trophies in games that aren't released yet. So it
does seem odd.
It's real strange, real weird. So anyway, try it out. If you haven't downloaded it, try it and let me know if it worked or if I just got lucky. So and then finally, as I mentioned, Battlefield 1. We need to do a Battlefield night again with the guys. The more I play the game, the more fun I have. And I'm playing by myself. And I know if we had a group like we had before, that'd be even more enjoyable. There's new DLC that has come out, new maps, new French stuff. They're updating.
I've got 2 other friends that are just currently getting into the game.
We should totally do it. I love that game. Every time I play it, I have a blast, and so much fun. So I would like to get into that. I'd like to get a group together and play. So we'll have to arrange something. So if you're on the PlayStation 4, heck, if you're on the Xbox One, I have it on there too. I have it on both consoles. I don't have the premium DLC or anything on. What's that?
I said, sure, go play it on there.
No, I'm just saying if we can get a group on PlayStation, I'll play there. I will say. Huh?
And so will I.
Right. So that's fine. That would be option number 1.
We won't. I won't.
Right. No. I will say I do miss playing with the Xbox controller. Like I've been playing so much PlayStation 4. I have the Elite controller on the Xbox. That's a super nice controller. I really like that. So, all right. So Battlefield 1, hit me up and let us know if you want to play that game some night. Monday nights are usually the best for me. I would love to do so. All right. Those are all the games that we played here this last week. That's going to do it for all the video game talk for this podcast. We're here right at just over an hour for this part of the podcast. We're now going to move on to some recent superhero culture event. The Wonder Woman movie release came out this last weekend. Dave and I have both seen it. So what we're going to do is we're going to just talk about our impressions of it first. Be non-spoilery. We won't give any of the details or anything like that would ruin the movie for you. We'll just tell you what we thought of it. And then once we're done with that short bit, we'll get into some spoilers. We'll talk about some specifics, and we'll let you know when that happens. So here we go. Wonder Woman. Let's just start off. Dave, what did you think of? You saw it today, correct?
Yeah, I saw it it started at 4:00, so the movie probably started kicking in at 15 after or whatever. So I got back not long before the podcast started. I stopped at Bojangles, got something to eat, came back, watched like half an episode of House of Cards, and then jumped on the podcast. So it's really fresh in my mind.
Yeah, I saw it this last weekend. So my wife and I went and saw it on Thursday night at like 9:45, real late for us. But yeah, so what'd you think?
I thought it was fantastic.
Same.
I mean, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I'm hesitant to say this because I don't want to say anything that's just not true, but I think that this movie, and it might be because of how Batman v Superman set it up, but this movie I think is well, I can say this safely. This movie is better than a lot of the standalone Marvel movies. A lot of them. I wouldn't say it's better than any of them because Winter Soldier was really good. I like the first Iron Man a lot, but this movie was just super well done. And because it's DC and not Marvel, there's there's more darkness to this movie than there is, the Marvel movies and stuff. I mean, they're always going to be compared to Marvel. But this movie definitely stands on its own without Batman v Superman. I mean, she was introduced into their DC universe. This is the movie to beat this summer, I think. I think it was she did a great job in it. I mean, for her being a model first and then coming to acting, like, she did an exceptional job. Chris Pine was great. I mean, he just is all the time. What's her name? I can't remember her name from House of Cards.
Right.
She did a great job. Who played her mother? Who played Wonder Woman's
I don't
mother?
know the actress's name. I don't know very many other names, to be honest with you.
Oh, they did a good job of casting the Amazon women. I thought they did a very good job. The scenes that they showed there on the
Robin
island.
Wright.
Is it Robin Wright, the one from House of Cards?
Oh wait, yep. Hold on.
Yeah, I think that's
anyway.
So, but yeah, it was well done, man. I mean, the set pieces, of course, World War I, very cool setting. It was cool how they tied it into the current timeline. I mean, that wasn't a huge feat, but it was just neat how they went back and did that. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to. I mean, obviously, we'll split this up and do spoilers here in just a little bit, but as far
overall,
as
your reactions were.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I mean, if you're a comic book fan at all, go see it. If you are like a DC fan, this is your movie for the summer.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I'll say this: it made me excited for Justice League, because if they can take this, if they can pattern their stuff after this movie, then gosh, man, Justice League could be a monster movie.
Yeah, I was telling my wife that I enjoyed it as well. I thought it was great. I love the time setting, the era World War I. The whole war going on with Germany and everything. It was a great set piece time era, and I love that historical time as well. So that had me interested right away. Which Wonder Woman, she was created in the 40s, the comic book character. So it lines up, with when she was actually created too. And I agree. I was telling her that DC needed this one to be good. One, obviously. Right. Batman, Superman, regardless of what you think about it, it was not received well. It made money for sure, but it wasn't received well. People had a lot of issues with it. Suicide Squad, I still haven't seen Suicide Squad.
Really?
No. And that one was received even more poorly than Batman v Superman, and they tied that into the whole DC universe. They really tried hard to tie it in, from what I hear. This one, they didn't try. I mean, there were some, and we'll talk about those here in a minute, but it stands alone. Like you said, it stands alone on its own. It doesn't need Batman or Superman or the whole universe they're creating to be a good movie. And I think it gives Justice League a better chance of being well received.
Yeah, honestly. The reason that this is standalone and they didn't try as hard to tie it in is because this is legitimately an origin story for one of their characters. It's a legitimate origin story, and it
hasn't been done a billion times already.
Right, and it works so well because it takes place so far before the timeline of their Justice League stuff. Right. So
before she's given up on the
it can afford to be completely separate whatsoever.
Yeah,
because none of those other people are alive.
Right. The movie as a whole, very good. As Dave said, I recommend you seeing it. And if you are a DC fan, obviously you probably plan to already have. If you're just a fan of good movies, it's a great action movie. There's more humor here, I think, than there has been in some of the DC movies, and probably a little less cheesy humor in this movie. The characters are really likable. Like you said, Chris Pine, really likable. And she is great. She's really likable as the character and as the superhero. And to see her develop from where she begins to where the movie ends and being the Wonder Woman that we know from Batman v Superman, it's fun to watch that journey. So great movie. Highly recommend seeing it.
Yeah.
There you go. There's our reaction. Now, warning for some spoilers. We're going to talk about some specifics. Dave and I haven't pre-talked this out, so we're just going off the cuff on things that we noticed and thought. So there's your warning. Spoilers for the rest of the episode. If you're done, don't want to hear spoilers, thanks for listening. Don't forget to enter for all the PlayStation 4 stuff. We'll see you next week. 3, 2, 1. You've been warned. All right, spoiler. What you got?
I think they did a really good job at tipping or showing their hand a little bit. And then, because me as a movie, I'm not maybe I can't say movie buff, but I see a lot of movies. I like dissecting the story, and I've written some of my own stories through as being a kid and stuff, and so I've studied a little bit of what makes it, how do you lay out your story and everything. So there was a time early on in the movie where I thought that guy is the bad guy.
The actual one?
Yes.
Really?
Now I didn't think that guy's Ares.
Okay.
But I did think that guy, there's something about that guy. And then when he came into the room and said, "I want to help you," I thought, I don't know about this. I don't know about this guy. He just shows up. He just knows. I mean, he had his eye on Wonder Woman where she came in. He came out and talked to her specifically. I'm like, there's something about this guy. And then they did a good job of just kind of sweeping him under the rug.
Yeah, totally.
Where even
the guy that she thought was Ares, right? I knew it wasn't him. That was too easy.
I knew it wasn't him too. I thought by the end, right before he showed up, right before Ares showed up, I thought, yeah, maybe this is just going to say, it's just mankind. Ares isn't really doing this. This is just whatever.
Sure, humans.
But at that point, early on in the movie, I was like, I think this guy's behind something. And then when he is sitting in the room and the secretary's talking about going to where all the bad guys are, and he perks up and he walks out there and he's like, "Give me the phone." I'm thinking, he doesn't want something to happen. But then the way that he delivered his lines, the way that his lines were set, I quickly dropped those feelings. Not consciously. I didn't consciously think, "Oh no, he's not the bad guy," but I completely all of a sudden forgot, and they just got me back into what's happening, and I didn't even think about him. And then after she drops that big climactic moment, and I was wondering too.
Stabs him in the chest.
Yeah, I was wondering too. Now this is DC, not Marvel. What's going to happen? Now they didn't. The one thing that I guess this keeps it kid friendly or whatever, but there was no blood on the other side of her sword when Chris Pine looks up at it. Should have been blood just seeping down.
Sure.
From that sword, which would have made it more gory.
Mm-hmm.
But they're darker, now maybe they're going to take those steps or whatever. But there's definitely more killing in these movies than there is in
it's a war movie for crying out loud. Yeah.
Captain America had killing and stuff, but it wasn't as direct as just driving a sword through somebody's chest. Pinning them.
People were just disintegrated by Hydra guns.
Right.
They turned to ash. Yeah.
So when that happened,
realized,
it's not stopping. I wasn't thinking Ares is going to show up.
Yeah, for a second, I figured Ares was going to come. I had a feeling. I didn't read any reviews or anything beforehand, but I knew Ares is her main, antagonist. That's who she fights often in the comics, and I figured that's who they would do, especially with the story that we got with the whole Zeus and all that stuff. I knew Ares was going to be it. And I knew Ares was going to be a real thing. We got, of the Omega symbol in the Batman v Superman. We got Dark Side talk. So I know that they're doing in different, they're making it magical and things like that too. What I thought for a split second when they stabbed her or stabbed him in the chest, I'm like, is it Dr. Poison? Is she Ares? Because she is, from my perspective for a second, because I knew it wasn't him, but I'm like, okay, what are they going to do? But then when she realizes this wasn't Ares, because nobody stopped fighting, I was like, oh, maybe it's Dr. Poison. She's the one that's orchestrating it all. She's not in charge of it, but behind the scenes, she's doing all this stuff. Then obviously when it turned out being one of the quote-unquote good guys, I'm like, God, that's much better.
I don't know if Sir Patrick is his real name or his character name, but when he appeared there in that tower, my reaction was, I knew it. And I was thinking, good job, DC. Like, good job.
Yeah. I didn't see that coming, but I was like, good job too. Yeah.
I had the thought, definitely, this guy is a bad guy. But I never really assumed they were going to tie him into he's the god of war. The son of Zeus, god of war. So I didn't really tie that in. And then I remember, because I haven't followed her story a lot. I remember seeing cartoons of her fighting him. So now I remember with the horns coming out of his mask and everything. And I remember the first time I saw him, I'm thinking, it's kind of weird him being Ares because he looks so weak.
Right.
Like he was playing a weak person, and even the actor doesn't look like somebody. And then when they showed his face, like when they showed Ares being cast down and it showed him look up and he had this mustache, I'm thinking,
no, I was like, why does the dude still have the weird mustache?
Would I have the mustache? But then
way back then,
by the time he pulled all the stuff to him and put the mask on and tore the eyes out, like I was sold on this dude being Ares. Now the mask obviously helped, but even when the mask came off at the end, I was like, yeah, I'm still sold on this guy being a bad dude.
Yeah, sure. I don't know why I needed the mustache, but yeah, totally.
Yeah, the mustache was a weird thing. Like you definitely would have known it was still the same guy without the mustache. You know,
to me, he was Professor Lupin from Harry Potter. You know, he's the one that turns into the werewolf.
The mustache would have been something that Ares grew to blend in, not that he just would have had as a god.
Like this is, I've always had this. I just kept it because I ain't shaving this. I'm the god of war, for crying out loud. Yeah, no, that was I enjoyed. They did real good with Ares, making him powerful, and basically be able to just do whatever he wanted. I wasn't expecting Klein's
character to die. I was kind of expecting, well, it's so old, obviously he must have died of old age. Like it made sense since he was World War I that he wasn't around in her time. I didn't know he expected him to die.
I figured he was going to die as a soldier, and that was why. I mean, maybe not the only reason, but I knew that was part of the reason why that photo from Batman v Superman was so important to her. Now, because he was something to her. I mean, first man she ever met.
Yeah, I will say that the play back and forth between them was great. Like, had me laughing. Like when they're on the boat and he's like, "Yeah, I mean, if you want me to sleep with you, I will." Like, I mean, it's not a big. She's like she doesn't care. Like, fine, I'll sleep with you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, like, totally not understanding. That's not what she understood. Yeah,
that was good. And the him mistaking his watch for her asking about his manship.
Above average.
So I thought that was pretty good. I thought all that was good.
That's clever. There was some good, funny, lighthearted moments.
I thought it was very cool how they did the scene where she had been hit so hard by Ares that her hearing had kind of gone away and she couldn't hear what he was saying, and then they replayed that and let you hear it. I thought that was a creative way of doing that, because at first I'm kind of like, okay, I understand you can't hear it. It's kind of weird that they're having the conversation while we can't hear what's being said.
What is he saying?
But then, he goes up there. So when she heard him say it back, I started realizing, like he did that sacrificial play, and she realizes that there is good in human. They're not all corrupt naturally. It's just there's good people. But I thought him going out that way, he did a very good job of doing it.
Yeah.
Like him, that was his goal the whole time, was to just, we got to save these people. Like we got to stop this part of the war from happening. This could end the war. I'm going to defy orders to do this because it means that much to me. I'm going to get this done at all costs. And him taking up there and him having that laugh, like, yeah, I did it. I got gosh, like big, huge sigh of relief. And now I have to blow it up. And him in those final moments, I like how they showed his face for as long as they did. Like, they could have had flashbacks of what he was thinking, but they didn't. They just stayed on his face and let him, like, he just sold it to us that he's preparing for it. He's being relieved that he can let go now because he saved all these people. He's done what he wanted to do, and then you see the plane blow up.
Right, he accomplished his mission.
And her reaction
now.
That was
it's
awesome.
Like, boom, she realized her power.
Oh my god!
She realized it came to her.
Well, see, again, because I'm not super familiar with the Wonder Woman character, so when she went absolutely animalistic, like at one point, I guess it was almost like she was turning to the dark side for a second, because it reminded me of the scene from like Ares was like Emperor Palpatine, like yes, like as she's starting to just lay waste to these guys in rage, because of the hurt she just felt and everything from seeing him blow up. And then she stops and is about to crush Spears. What's her name? With that tank,
Dr.
she just
Poison
up over her head.
Yeah.
And then she doesn't even throw it at Ares. She's just like, tosses it aside.
I do like. I was wondering the entire movie, are they going to let her fly? Are they going to make her fly? Because she can fly. In the comics, she can fly.
Yeah.
And we didn't see her fly the entire movie until the very end, and she basically hovers right in front of Ares right before she brings all that lightning and just creates a giant crater where Ares used to be. So I was excited and happy.
You see that for a second. Yeah, they don't show they show that she's basically hovering there, but then at the very end too, when she jumps, she's not jumping to a clear point. Like it's not like I'm going to jump to this area. She just jumps out and doesn't land.
Yeah,
I mean, so
like Superman, when he learned how to fly, he did really big jumps for a long time, and then boom, he caught on. I liked that they brought that into her, into that part of the character. So now let's talk about the whole. I mean, there's so many things we can't talk about everything because the podcast will go on another hour. But I'd like to talk about the one part where they're coming to the front lines, where she gets them to come to the front lines. Basically, the biggest action sequence besides the end fight of the movie, where she takes the entire platoon and everyone in the trenches, basically follows her across no man's land, gets into the town, and then does all the things in the houses and saves everyone in that town. Great action sequence, right? Like for her to just like, I'm going. There are people that are hurting. Follow me if you want. And she can be killed by bullets. I mean, we saw all her friends back on the island get shot and killed. But
they're also Amazons and she's not.
That's true. That's a good point. So we never saw a bullet hit her body.
Right.
She used the shield. She used her bracelets or the gauntlets to deflect.
Here's a little tidbit. Here's a little tidbit of info from me. I've already said this. I didn't follow Wonder Woman as a kid. I had Wonder Woman action figures. I played in the sandbox with my Superman and Batman thing, but I didn't read the comics. I didn't watch the TV shows. I was, as a young boy, I didn't care about Wonder Woman. And so I didn't even know, like watching the movie for the first time, I was the one in the movie going, so what is she? If she's not an Amazon, I didn't know she was a god. I didn't know she was a daughter of Zeus. So I was finding out in real time what she was. And so like finally
the lasso and stuff though, right?
Well, the lasso of truth, like I knew about that.
Yeah, you knew those things. Yeah,
I knew the lasso of truth. I didn't know about the God killer. Like actually there was one point in the movie too where when her mother was telling her he gave us a weapon and she said, "Show it to me." And the way that the mom looked at her, I thought she's probably the weapon. But then she goes, "Here's the weapon. It's the God killer." I'm like, "Oh no, she's not the weapon. It's this sword." The God. And then at the end they're like, "Nope, you're right." So then when she calls Ares brother, I'm like, dude, so she's a god. Like she's an actual god. So
she's
it
the son of
sense
Zeus.
to me why she could, because that was a point of
son of Zeus and Amazonian.
That's something I was thinking about too during that scene. Was like, okay, she's blocked a bunch of bullets with her arms and everything. Like in the scene where she stops Pine from getting attacked in the alleyway, she just goes crazy. It's like, well, she's getting better and better. She's obviously stronger than the Amazons because she did that weird move in the thing. So I believed all that. But then in the No Man's Land, she blocks a bullet. The first bullet fired just blocks it. Okay. Next bullet. But then all of a sudden they're all like, all right, we're all going to shoot at her. And it sort of doesn't show you. It's like they're stormtroopers where they're not hitting her. Like they're all shooting at her. And then the Gatling gun comes and she drops her shield. But she's only, I mean, and you do see some bullets bouncing off her, like her knee guards and stuff. But it never showed you that her armor was also bulletproof.
Hitting her.
It's just all of a sudden she's not getting hit anywhere.
No, it's just hitting her shield.
But I will say that scene, like that scene got me. Like the rousing spirit in me got me to where, like Chris Pine's character to me, like grew so fast into like, this guy's a really awesome dude. Like once he saw her go out there and take the first bullet and then start running, like he didn't hesitate. He jumps up, his other guys follow him, jump up. The soldiers for a second hesitated. They said,
but then everyone followed.
Yeah, and then when they said, and when all those soldiers got up, like it got me in like the emotional weight of that. Like
she led the
let's go. So they go in there, and there was some awesome moments, like where she does a lot of cool stuff, and then she just flips that nest over that APC or whatever.
Yeah,
like dude, that was pretty awesome. And then I also thought it was really cool how something that just in passing, you didn't even really know that you saw it. Like I remember you see Chris Pine notice this, but you don't really think anything of it until in that scene, you see him, okay, we're going to pick this up on our back. And he yells to her, shield.
Shield. Right.
Basically just doing the same move he saw them do. And she jumps up and takes that building out, which was awesome. I thought she was going to walk out the front door, like out of the smoke.
Yeah, sure. That'd have been cool.
But instead she comes
up down to the bottom floor. When she jumps into some of those buildings before that one and she's knocking soldiers around, with her shield and her lasso and whipping people around. And pause for a second. There's a lot. And I was okay with it. A lot of slow-mo action scenes. A ton. Did you notice that? Like from the beginning on the island, everyone's doing slow motion flips, shooting bows and arrows. She's doing all these flips.
I like how they do. I like the way they did that too, to where there's a lot of super fast and it really quick transitions into slow motion and then goes back into fast. Right. I like that kind of stuff. Knocking them through the windows.
When she was going,
the scenes where it's showing her coming right at the camera, like
when she was going through that house,
just, like as far as picking the character, like she is
nailed it.
Perfectly casted. I mean, the definitions in her face, the way that she's just. It's not her body. I mean, she's in great shape, and Wonder Woman has to be. But her face and the contoured lines and everything, and just the contrast and her hair, it all works so well. Like she's
perfect for the character.
Great look for it.
But with the one part I did think to myself, and I said it as we left the theater, and had a few guys in front of me laugh out loud. They never turned around to talk to me about it, but they did laugh. When I was watching those scenes where she's hitting people in the building and knocking guys out the windows and just taking everyone out, they're hitting her, and then she's using the sword, and she's winning. And then when she finally like knee jumps that guy out the window, and she's right behind him, and it's just like slow motion as he's flying out the window backwards. I'm like, dude, she's a better Captain America than Captain America was.
You said it out loud?
No, I thought that in the theater, but then when we were walking out, I said to Lisa, I was like, that might have been a better Captain America movie than the first Captain America movie was. And two dudes in front were like, ha! I was like, I'm serious. No, ha! But they didn't even turn around to look. They just kept walking off. And I was wearing my Uncanny Comics shirt.
Right.
So, I had some credibility. But I thought, Captain America is a great movie. When you go back to the first Avenger, the World War II, he's fighting the Red Skull, and he does all those cool things with the shield and stuff. The correlations between not beat per beat, but some of the things that it's a war movie. Obviously he was a nobody that became somebody. She has always been a somebody, but everything was so new to her, and then she realized the powers that she had and just wanting to fight for the people, and to see her do the things. And again, with the same thing with the shield and the punching people, she's not shooting anybody. She doesn't have any superpowers like she's flying around with repulsors or shooting webs or anything like that. She's just beating the crap out of people. I'm like, man, this might be better, not because Captain America is not good, but just because the time that has passed and movies get better. They get better at what they do, and this might be a better Captain America, at least seen, than the original Captain America movie. And they laughed at that, but I still think that.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it did a great job of mixing what is great about Wonder Woman. What's popular about Wonder Woman is that she's an attractive yet strong and commanding female hero, and it was just I really liked. I mean, like in my opinion, again, this kind of goes back to what I said. Like if they follow this pattern, they're setting up.
Yeah.
When they get to Justice League, their characters being stronger than the Avengers were when they got to it. Like Iron Man was cool. I mean, Iron Man was just cool because it came out of nowhere. You weren't ready for it. Robert Downey Jr. is just great in it. But at the same time, Marvel or Robert Downey Jr. is a billionaire with a genius billionaire. So he's not a superhero. So that was cool because it was plausible.
Sure.
This is completely not, this is dealing with mythology and everything, but at the same time, they make it fit into our reality and our history.
Yeah.
And it's believable. And it might be due to some of what Marvel's already done. Like Marvel,
I'm sure
in a sense, has made it easier for DC. So if they can capitalize on that and keep putting out their future movies. Now that where they're gonna run into some roadblocks is because they've got Aquaman and Cyborg to do it with. Flash they can do it with.
Aquaman, I think there's some Easter. Did you see when her mother's telling her the whole story of that, the storybook type thing with Zeus and knocking Ares down? And they talked about Poseidon. They show Poseidon's. And when Ares killed everybody, it showed if you go back and look, and I didn't realize it, but I read some articles and saw the screenshots. That trident looks very similar to what Arthur Curry is having, his trident, Aquaman, and it falls to Earth.
Poseidon's trident?
It shows Poseidon's trident falling, like it specifically shows it falling out of his hand. So the Easter egg is that Poseidon's trident fell to Earth, and Arthur has Poseidon's trident. So that would tie.
What does Arthur have?
That one is it's supposed to be, but it's not Poseidon's. It's who's the king of Atlantis? The one. What's Little Mermaid's dad's name?
Triton.
Titan.
Triton. Triton.
I don't know if that's it either. There's the king of Atlantis, whoever that was, like in mythology. It's another god's name. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's who he's supposed to have his trident. But this I think they're trying to lean into. It might be Poseidon's, but
so where does
cool.
Cyborg? Where does Cyborg? Obviously, that's kind of like their Tesseract looking thing, weird thing. What is that?
That's a boom box, and that has to do with aliens and outer space, and alien technology.
So off the bat, with the exception of Bruce, who is their Tony Stark, with far less playboy philanthropy. I mean, he is, but he's not. But all their other people are dealing with celestial beings, whether they be aliens or be gods. Whereas in the Avengers, it's basically only Thor. And
Neptune. Neptune is the guy I was thinking. For Aquaman's trident.
Yeah.
It's usually Neptune's. Anyways.
Now, I will say, I did see, the Justice League trailer came on, obviously, before, and there were some scenes that because I haven't really followed that, there were some scenes where it showed some buddy humor going on between Aquaman and Batman, where he jumps on.
I dig it.
Yeah. And then he jumps on the Batmobile, I think, and he's like, yeah, like that or something.
Yeah, right.
When he's riding and he jumps up. So, because when we first got the trailer or the teaser, he seemed like this ominous, like no jokes, like no messing around dude. But obviously that's not going to be the case. There's going to be much lightheartedness in there as well.
Which is good. They need some of that.
Yeah, because Barry can't carry all of that. Everyone else is so dark.
Yeah. And Cyborg is, in the comics, he's a fun, loving guy who obviously had some really, really bad things happen to him that he needs this alien technology to basically live. He's basically Darth Vader, right? More machine than man. But he has the ability to tap into some of Darkseid's technology. And in the comics, actually, he's able to warp, like basically travel through portals using the boom tubes, which is, what that box is. So it'll be interesting to see the direction they go. I think that's their biggest challenge, Cyborg, because he's a super unknown. At least people know who Aquaman is. Cyborg, people just don't really know who he is to the general public, and it could be a stretch on how to explain some of that. But
I bet you they'll play. I bet you I can already tell, and I'll probably love the movie. This will probably go along the same routes as Luke Cage did.
Sure.
It's far more tailored to that audience, and far more tailored because Cyborg looks like he's like a teenager, right? Is he like?
Yeah,
Miles Dyson's from the Terminator.
Like a high school football star. He's super athletic, got a great future ahead of him.
Yeah, so obviously he's gonna have an entire group of friends, an entire not a family. I was gonna say fan base, but like if he's a football star, he's got like the community that he's not a non-famous person. So I imagine there will be a group of people.
Sure.
That I don't know. But again, the whole alien thing, that's way different than Luke Cage.
Yeah, no, totally. They do say that they're still planning on doing a Cyborg, standalone, which I don't think will happen to like 2020.
Yeah.
And then Aquaman, obviously, and then a Flash movie as well. So Yeah, Wonder Woman needed to do well for the Justice League's sake, and I think it did, and I think the Justice League will benefit from that, from this movie being good. More people will be willing. If this one would have bombed or been terrible, I think a lot of people, or at least a section of people, would be like, "Well, I'm not even going to go see Justice League because the last few have just been bad." We would have seen it because we're those type of people, but there would have been a bigger group that wouldn't have. So overall, lots of fun. Enjoyed pretty much everything about it. There wasn't a whole lot I didn't. I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now. I was like, I didn't like this. So, yeah. Anything else
I love
left to say?
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's better than, let's see, what's the last Marvel movie I saw? Well,
Guardians.
So I liked it better than I like Guardians of the Galaxy, like by far. Guardians of the Galaxy, I really liked Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
I liked this.
It's different, right?
Yeah, it was different. I mean,
yeah,
it's one of those situations like we say about video games a lot of times. If you just gave me more of the first Guardians of the Galaxy, I would have been happy. This did that and gave me more of the lore, and there was a little bit more weight to it, with some of the characters in it and what happened to them and stuff. It was a good movie. This is the movie to beat, I think, so far this year.
Yeah, for the summer. I agree. Yeah. So, all right. So 2 out of 3 South Dakota gamers like it. Thumbs up. We'll see you on the third one when he gets back. I wouldn't be surprised if he saw it on his honeymoon somewhere. So there you go.
Yeah, but he hated the CGI Carrie Fisher at the end of it.
Oh yeah, well, we already said spoilers, so it's okay. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week's podcast. Thanks as always for listening. If you stuck with us this long, don't forget to go get your entries for the PlayStation 4 giveaway. That means you have to subscribe to the YouTube channel and let us know. You got 1 week to tell us what the best conversation, discussion, debate question was for the Star Wars Rant podcast. Go over and do that. Give them a follow and subscribe while you're at it. Star Wars. All right, well, that's going to do it. We're all done. We're going to say goodnight. Good night.
Good night, folks, and have a great slice of Amazon pizza.
What would be on an Amazon pizza?
I have no idea.
Bye, YouTube.